Hello, guys. Welcome to yet another podcast in which this time I'm here with Jordan Rowe, aka Rowenet Review, and TomVeliotis, in which we're going to hand out awards for this year's summer movie season. Say hi, guys.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
And we created 8 categories. Well, technically the first 4, well, actually the final 4 are the ones that you see a lot in these kinds of awards, but the first 4 we're going to be discussing are ones that we created ourselves, and in fact, Cacman11 created our favorite one probably out of all of them. So, I'm
Sorry,
gonna,
just say he couldn't be here today, so he got sick all of a sudden. So hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, get well soon.
yeah, get well, man. So, the first one is Funniest Comedy, and this one was created by Tom, so why don't you start this one then?
Alright, cool. So I think that this year there were a lot of really good comedies. I actually enjoyed 30 Minutes or Less, and, what was the other one? Horrible Bosses was really funny as well, but I'm gonna give this one to Bridesmaids. This movie, I saw it twice in the theaters, and I loved it so much. I think the cast was great. You had Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, and a lot of other really great actors just really bringing their A game here. There were a lot of laugh-out-loud moments, and I loved how the movie kept a consistent tone. It was just all around a really well-done comedy, and I'm definitely going to buy it on DVD when it comes out.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. It felt just short of the one that I'm giving number 1, in which my favorite comedy of the summer was actually Horrible Bosses, because while I really enjoyed Bridesmaids, there was something about Horrible Bosses. It was just a lot more relatable, I think, because it was kind of this generation's Office Space in a way. And 30 Minutes or Less, just for me, was a huge disappointment. But in Horrible Bosses, it just had a plethora of great comedic talent, especially Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, Charlie Day, and I'm a huge Charlie Day fan. I'll put that out because I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In fact, I met him and the rest of the cast at Comic-Con this year, and just the way they combined their comedic talent together. Oh yeah, Jason Bateman too. I hope I said him at first, but whatever. Those 3 were fantastic together, and they played off each other so well. They had so many great jokes throughout the film, and the bosses were played terrifically. Kevin Spacey, Jennifer Aniston, and Colin Farrell, all great, and also Jamie Foxx showing his chops in comedy again. It was just a lot of fun, and I know not a lot of people said it could have. I know a lot of people said it could have lived up to its potential. That it could have been a lot better, but I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, actually, oops, sorry, dropped my mic. All right, yeah, actually, I'm as close to your pick, Tyler, as can be, because I was down between Bridesmaids and Horrible Bosses, but I ended up picking Horrible Bosses as well. Yeah, I thought this movie was hilarious. With you also about how a lot of people seem to think this movie could have gone darker. I mean, it could have, but for me, I was satisfied with what they had. And I thought the best parts of this movie were really the banter and the chemistry between Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day. I think the movie also had some great, hilarious set pieces. The cocaine, sorting out the cocaine scene sticks to mind, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, I thought this movie for me was really well paced. I thought it was nice and short, as comedy should be, and I laughed a lot. So Horrible Bosses for sure my favorite comedy of the year, or this summer.
Like you said earlier about the how it didn't really have a dark tone so much, that was actually my problem with it, but nonetheless, it was still a really funny movie.
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. Alright, so we're moving on to the second award category, which this one was created by Jordan. Biggest waste of actor talent.
Yeah. All right, you want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
All right. My biggest waste of actor talent comes from a movie, which also I will be getting into a little later. It was towards the bottom end for me this summer. But my biggest waste of actor talent was Aziz Ansari for 30 Minutes or Less. And it was, for me, between this or Jesse Eisenberg. And Jesse is definitely the better actor. But I think for a movie like 30 Minutes or Less, Aziz Ansari really could have been just the off-the-wall, insane, like, comedic, great part, the funny part of the movie, the really funny part being similar to like a Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover. And I mean, we've seen him do really well. I mean, his stand-up is hilarious, and I mean, I thought he was really good in Funny People, where he wasn't even in it that much. I still thought he was great. But in this movie, I feel like he just was not given that much to do. I feel like his comedic lines weren't that funny. A lot of them were just like, oh, I'm hungry, let's get something to eat. I didn't think it was all that funny. He was, all right. I just feel like he should have been given more material, and I think the movie as a whole should have had more for all the actors, but Aziz Ansari for me is probably the biggest waste of actor talent.
Yeah, that I can probably agree with, because actually 30 Minutes or Less, as I said, was one of my most disappointing comedies of the year, even movies of the summer in general. So, Tom, who's yours now?
Alright, for biggest waste of an actor talent, I went with Harrison Ford in Cowboys and Aliens. And, I mean, to begin with, I don't think he was given enough to do. I mean, we're talking about Harrison Ford here. He's a badass. He's a great actor. And I just felt like, I don't know, I felt like he was overshadowed by Daniel Craig, to be honest, because, I feel like Daniel Craig had more of the badass sort of scenes, while Harrison Ford almost felt like a sidekick to him, and his dialogue wasn't that good either. I mean, just nothing was really memorable about him. And again, we're talking about Harrison Ford, so I was a little let down by his performance here, and it's a shame because, again, it's Harrison Ford, so...
Yeah, I would actually say, as, legendary as Harrison Ford is, I kind of think... recent movies he's not been as good, so therefore I wasn't expecting much from him with this movie, but I thought Daniel Craig for me was more disappointing just because, I mean, he's been on his A game with, the James Bond movies. I really like Casino Royale a lot. And for me, I mean, he did his normal shtick. I just didn't think he had much material and he couldn't really shine in this movie, but I agree. That movie was disappointing.
Yeah, I agree too with that.
Yeah, one more thing to mention, yeah, I know what you mean by, like, the previous movies Harrison Ford has been in. It's more like he's been asleep than actually.
Yeah, true.
Indiana Jones 4.
Oh, yeah. But, this movie, like, I do feel like he had more energy, but still, I don't think he was that good in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, mine is actually probably what you guys didn't expect, but it's actually a three-way tie for mine, and it all comes from one movie that will definitely be revisited later. And that's a three-way tie between Jeremy Piven, Joel McHale, and Ricky Gervais in Spy Kids All the Time in the World.
Nice.
And the reason why is because I've been following Jeremy Piven for years on Entourage. Like, the guy has done bad work in the past, I know, but I can let it slide because Ari Gold is such a maverick character in that show, in which these days in that show, like, even though I think it ended now, he was really the one that kept it going because he just has such a smart-ass personality all the time. But he is just so wasted in the film. Not even one of his lines are funny. Even he looks disappointed in it. Joel McHale, I love Community. He's hilarious in that show. And even on The Soup, which I watch off and on, he's great in that. Once again, like him, absolutely nothing to work with. And then finally with Ricky Gervais, that guy's probably my favorite British comedian out there because he's just so unapologetic with anything he says. And also that he goes so far with the stuff that he says sometimes, but it's still hilarious at the same time. He's given the worst jokes in the world in that film. Like, the talking dog that he plays was probably the most annoying character of all.
Yeah, that's... but granted, it is a Spy Kids movie. You don't expect much, but it's just sad to see that kind of talent put in something like that.
Yeah, especially those three.
Yeah.
True.
Alright, this third category is one that I created, and it's pretty much one that has a good relation to several of the movies that did release this summer. Actually, again, kinds of movies, and that's the comic book movies, in which I created Best Comic Book Movie, and my choice was X-Men First Class. Now, here's the thing. I was thinking about putting Captain America in that position, but the problem was with Captain America, I just feel like Red Skull just didn't have enough menace as a villain, which is why I couldn't put it above X-Men First Class. But still, X-Men First Class was really good. You okay, Jordan?
Yeah, sorry. Water went down the wrong pipe, as they say. Good.
Right.
Sorry. I tried to put the mic down. Didn't work.
Well, I'll just continue then. But the reason I chose X-Men First Class, as I said, was because of like the handling of Red Skull and Captain America. It was just an all-around very fun comic book film, but it also retained a perfect retro setting of the 1960s. And the chemistry between Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy was so vibrant and electric in it. And everyone just played their characters so well. The action was filmed great. It was a movie that I was very skeptical on because Matthew Vaughn was directing and he had never worked on a film with like this many effects before. But in the end, it turned out to be a very great comic book movie. One of the best I've seen, too.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. It is a really good comic book movie.
Who wants to go next? Tom, you want to go next, or me?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. Well, I picked the same thing as Tyler. I picked X-Men First Class, and I love everything about this movie. I love how they put so much time into the story and characters. I felt for these characters so much. James McAvoy as well as Michael Fassbender did such a good job in their role. I thought the action scenes were really well done, just really awesome, and the effects as well were really good. And, yeah, everything all around was really well done. And I'd have to say this is probably one of the best X-Men movies. I know the first two are really good, but
Especially the second one.
Yes, especially the second one. But this one has a chance at being, the best. And the last thing I have to mention is I love how Matthew Vaughn, he interjects his own style into this movie, but it still feels like an X-Men movie, which is what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my pick is the same, X-Men First Class, but I am going to disagree with you guys a little bit. I think overall the summer for me hasn't really given, at least for me, I didn't think a lot of any of the comic book movies were all that great. But I still think X-Men was good. I thought it was solid. It was pretty entertaining. I thought performances, especially Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, and Kevin Bacon, were all really good. And I think the action was, well shot and directed, although I wish they wouldn't have given the end fight in the trailer away. But, that's beside the point. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the material was well handled. But, I don't know, I just don't think for me it's on the same level as something like The Dark Knight or my favorite comic book movies of all time. But it was still good. I'd say it's a solid rental. When it was out, I would say, see it in theaters, but now it's going to be on DVD, so check it out.
Yeah, I actually got to agree with that last part you said that. There were some people I know that they were so hyped up over this movie when they saw it. Is there a dog there?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. This dog is not trained.
That's like my dog.
Sorry. First the coughing, then the dog. This is not. I'm just not in. Whatever.
It's all good, man. I do agree, though. I don't think it's on the same level as The Dark Knight, but it's still a really good movie. And compared to The Green Lantern, it's so much better.
That's an Oscar winner compared to Green Lantern.
Yeah. Well, I will for sure be talking about that later.
Yeah, I will too. All right, so I think we all went through our best comic book movie now. So now we're on to the category that Kevin created, which was probably our favorite. Did that really need to get made? So
Hands down, yeah.
Who wants to start this one?
This is a movie that didn't necessarily, it's not the worst thing of the summer, or not the worst movie, but just a movie that did not need to really, wondering how in the world studio executives said, let's make this, and it eventually just got made. So it makes no sense to us why these movies were made.
You question it.
Yeah, so who wants to start this one?
I can start it off. For me, when I first read this category, one movie immediately came to mind. And again, this is not my worst movie of the summer. I didn't even hate this movie that much. I thought it was fair. But my pick is The Change-Up with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds. The concept of the body switch is so overdone and so tired at this point. And the argument I keep hearing is that the R-rated humor, the R-rated version, you've never seen this before. But to me, it's not enough. I think that the tone, minus, the screenplay written in with a whole bunch of crazy R-rated humor, R-rated jokes, the tone of the movie honestly feels like a Freaky Friday, but there's just, a bunch of swearing and stuff. And I also think that Ryan Reynolds can't really open a movie. It's kind of proven at this point between this and Green Lantern that he's not really a box office star. But I didn't hate The Change-Up. I just don't think really we needed another body switch movie. So yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. I thought it was enjoyable for what it was, but it's definitely a comedy that I'll forget at some point, though. So, this would have been an easy win at first, but then I thought about it. I could save this movie for another category, so I put it out. But my choice for the Did That Really Need to Get Made award is the Conan the Barbarian reboot. Yeah, and I think I'm the only one out of the three of us that are here that saw that, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Alright, well, I don't understand, I'm already sick of remakes and reboots the way they are, because every year in Hollywood, there's only, 3 or 4 of them that actually turn out good of, the 100 or so that are produced every year. And this is an example of that other 97 or 96, however you want to put it, in which one of the worst scripts I have ever heard in my life in this film. And the fact that Marcus Nispel was directing, I think this guy only directs remakes now, just made it even worse, in which battle scenes were filmed horribly. Some of the lines were just unintentionally hilarious every few seconds or so. And the new Conan, all he did was speak better English than Arnie. Like, that's all I can give him credit for.
Yeah, I had zero interest in this movie, so I didn't see it.
Yeah, same here. And even though I do like the original, you really can't beat the original because, you have Arnold in it for one, so...
I will admit, I've not seen the original. I've not had much interest to, but there's no reason to remake a lot of movies that just have a fan base around them. I mean, let alone
Footloose.
Conan the Barbarian. Like, I think the best remakes to come out are ones where the movie the first time around wasn't, had a good concept, but maybe wasn't great, and then the second time they remake it, and then it eventually is a better movie. Between this and, like, I know Tyler already saw Footloose, but and then, like, The Karate Kid last year, like, there's no reason to remake a movie that has a big fan base around it.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, The Karate Kid turned out being pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw parts of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I was okay with it. I didn't think it was that good, but it was all right.
It was too long for me. All right, Tom, what's yours?
All right, for this category, did that really need to get made? I chose Cars 2, and when I first heard the news that this was being made, I just thought to myself, really, out of any Pixar movie, this is the one that's going to get a sequel. And I thought to myself, why not The Incredibles? But that's a different story.
No, for sure, I agree.
Oh yeah, and first off, this movie felt really lazy with everything. I mean, the whole cliched spy plot, I really just didn't like at all. I felt that the dramatic aspect, too, of the movie felt rushed. I mean, every Pixar movie, there's always a lot of dramatic depth to it that you really feel. Up, for example, you walk out of some Pixar movies and you really feel, like, you feel something. But this movie, I just walked out and kind of just really didn't remember it and didn't feel anything. And I really didn't like how the movie was centered around Mater, and he was very annoying in this movie.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't like his character at all. And all around, not even just as a Pixar movie, but just as an animated movie, it just didn't really hold up as being good.
Yeah, I totally agree with The Incredibles thing, and I think they do try to make this movie have the same, like, Up thing where it's, like, supposed to be really emotional. And the scene for me that was just like, this is a complete failure on that part was there's a scene for anyone who's seen the movie. They talk about dents in their cars and how it brings back memories for them.
Oh, yeah.
And that to me, I was just like, God,
Come
stop.
on.
Yeah,
that was really forced. I did not like that at all.
Yeah, even for the fact that I'm a car fanatic in real life, which is one reason why I love the first Cars, and the fact that, like, I'm huge on auto racing culture and everything. But the second one, like, it literally took everything that made the first one great and tried to do, like, they set up, like, 30 more things to do with it. It was just too much and a huge mess.
It was a huge mess.
Yeah, I didn't hate it as much as I thought the movie was okay, though. I don't hate it as much as a lot of people do, but I definitely think it's one of the weakest Pixar movies to date.
I'd say it is the weakest.
I personally liked it more than the first one, but I didn't like the first Cars that much, but, they're both interchangeable for me at this point.
Sure. Moving on to the big four, which the first one is biggest disappointment. I'll start this one off, which it's a film that I mentioned a little bit earlier, and that is Green Lantern.
Nice.
The thing is, when it comes to a DC comic book movie, it's either going to be a great film that's always going to get remembered, like The Dark Knight is, or even the original Superman movies were. However, when since the Christopher Nolan rebooted the Batman series and, like, made a huge spectacle out of it, they have not been able to make a good DC movie, and Green Lantern was yet another example in which, literally, like, after that movie was out and I ended up moving on to another review I did a few weeks later, I literally said that a certain movie I reviewed was suffering from the Green Lantern effect, in which it had, like, 5 different writers in it, and they could not combine anything good into it. Just, the movie was a huge mess. It did not introduce Hal Jordan that well. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively felt forced. And the action, it literally felt like a kid's game was happening, like, especially that car sequence in it with, like, the helicopter. That was so silly.
I'm gonna hold my comments because I will talk about it in a sec, or, well, in a little bit, but yeah, for sure, I agree with your points.
Yeah, you want to go then?
Yeah, my biggest disappointment of the summer, I mean, Green Lantern for me, I didn't have much expectation. I mean, a lot of people seem to love the WonderCon footage. I didn't really like it all that much. It looked better than the first trailer, but, So long story short, I was not, I didn't have much expectation for it. But my biggest disappointment of the summer, I think by far, is 30 Minutes or Less. I thought the movie had such great potential. I thought, I actually didn't know it was a true story at first, but I thought the premise was intriguing enough for, like a comedy. It's kind of, original. And I thought that, the director of Zombieland and matched with Aziz Ansari, Jesse Eisenberg, I thought this could be one of the best R-rated comedies of the summer, and for me, I sat and watched the movie. I barely chuckled at best. I just thought I thought none of it was funny. It felt like they wrote the script and they were ready to film, and they thought, oh God, wait, we have to write jokes in it. We forgot jokes, so they went back and wrote kind of half-attempted jokes. I really didn't think it was all that great. It's too bad because it really could have been a lot of fun, but for me, I just was very underwhelmed.
Yeah, I actually was too when I saw that, because I was really looking forward to that because of the cast, and
Agreed.
I agree with just about everything you said. I think you summed it up pretty well for me.
Yeah, for sure, disappointment. Oh, I know Tom liked it, but I
no offense, Tom.
Sorry.
Nah, everybody has their own opinion. It's all good. All right, so you guys done? Want me to go?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, for biggest disappointment, I chose Cowboys and Aliens, and when I first saw the trailer for this movie and, read about it and whatnot, I was really interested because, you have Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford, just a lot of great actors, and, of course, Steven Spielberg is behind it. Even Ron Howard is behind it, and Cowboys and Aliens are cool as well. But, at first when I saw it, I enjoyed it, and I thought to myself, yeah, this was really good. But then I was just saying that because of how interested I was in it. But in the end, I just didn't like it that much. The dialogue was really dull and uninteresting. I don't think any of it was really, badass. And the aliens themselves were uninspired. They weren't really cool looking, and they looked like 90% of the aliens we see nowadays in movies. And I just didn't feel a sense of adventure or mystery in the movie. You're following all these, cowboys, and it just felt like they were going to, different set pieces for action. By the way, the action was actually really good in this movie. It's just...
there wasn't enough, really.
Yeah, and I don't know, nothing in the movie really, stood out to me, and a lot of things about the movie were forgettable.
Yeah, I agree. And I know you said the action was good, and I think kind of like what you're saying with the aliens being generic. You have that premise, which is so unique, and in the right hands could be done well, but for me, I thought the movie itself just played out like every generic action movie we've had in the last 5 years. And for me, the action scenes, well, they were good. I think, given, again, that premise, they could have had a lot of unique stuff. I'm going to somewhat spoil a little bit in Cowboys and Aliens here, which is, I won't give anything away, but there's a really cool kill involving a dynamite stick in the movie. And I think if the movie had more of that, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I think between that and just a lot of the character motives and the story, I really did not like. It's a movie, when I think about it, I kind of like less and less, so agreed.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. And like I said, when I walked out, I thought to myself, that was really good, but, the more and more I think about it, I'm just like, it wasn't really that good overall.
Yeah, that was me after I did my review for it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 in my review, and in fact, back to what you said about the dialogue being dull, I just remembered that I said in my review that it suffered from the Green Lantern effect of having 5 or 6 writers that were behind it.
Yeah, I remember there was when I saw the movie, it was wow, there's a lot of writers on this movie.
But yeah, the same thing what you said, Tom. When I walked out, I thought, okay, it was kind of enjoyable, but the more I thought about it, even after doing my review, I was way too generous on it. This was a huge disappointment. In fact, that and 30 Minutes or Less were actually my runner-ups for biggest disappointment.
Wow.
Yeah, I originally gave this movie a 3.5. I think now I'd probably lower it to 2 or 2.5. This movie could have been so much more.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the third of the big, actually the second of the big four. Biggest surprise, in which this one's going to be pretty good for me because this was a movie that it was barely even being hyped or anything, and I wasn't even looking forward to it that much, mostly because of the way it was being presented and all. But when I finally saw it, and the fact that I just needed something to watch because I had just come home from college orientation, I was a wreck. I needed something to wake me up, and it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It was that was probably the most mature summer blockbuster I had ever seen because it actually had a story to care about. Andy Serkis delivers one of the most maverick CGI motion capture performances I've ever seen. And the fact that they built it up all around Caesar instead of the human characters made it better. And then just the siege on the Golden Gate Bridge, that was one of the best eye candy scenes of the year.
Yeah, I agree so much that it's also my pick. I think it's for me right behind Fast Five. Which are we counting that as a summer movie? I
I
don't
guess
count it.
we kind of can.
Okay, I don't know. I put Apes instead. But yeah, I went in with the mindset of just when the first trailers were out, I really kind of hated. Oh, I hated the second one that came out. I think it was attached to maybe like X-Men or something. I really did not like it. I thought it looked really over the top and cheesy. And then as the movie was closer to the weeks before it came out, I was sort of thinking more and more, this could be sort of a dumb kind of mindless action movie. It could be fun. And then when I saw the movie, I was just like, wow, this actually had a really really good story in it. I think Caesar had probably one of the best character arcs of the summer. I was shocked how well developed he was. I mean, you really felt for him. He had a lot of emotion and depth to him, and I thought you have that, and you have that matched with some really cool build-up with the apes, and then that whole sequence at the end. Tyler, I agree, it's one of the best action sequences of the year, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's like a 20-minute non-stop apes taking over San Francisco, destroying stuff, and I thought the way that was shot, and just, I love that whole sequence, and yeah, I agree, this is one of the best movies of the summer.
Yeah,
I
sure
agree
was.
too. It definitely is one of the best summer movies. And but I sort of had the mindset that it was going to be a good movie, so I wasn't like oh, this is just going to be crap or just a mindless action movie. But one movie that surprised the hell out of me was Fright Night, and I love the original movie. And when I saw the trailers for this, I thought it looks okay, I guess. But I really just didn't think much of it, and when I saw it, it sort of blew me away. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I loved how it stayed true to the original film, but it still managed to bring some new material in. It had a great dark sense of humor, and I thought that all the actors really brought their A game, including Colin Farrell, who looked like he had so much fun with the movie. And all around, it's just a really entertaining movie, and for any horror buff, they'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, actually, when I saw it a second time, because I first saw it at its Comic-Con premiere, but the problem with seeing it there, it was such a late screening at night. I saw it at probably like 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night because they were finally showing the screen at that time because I was at the party they were doing earlier where like they brought the stars there and everything.
I saw on that, there was some video of it, and I saw you shook Colin Farrell's hand, which was pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, that was great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dog.
Sorry, God, this dog. Oh man. All right, sorry. Continue. I think she's stopped now.
All right. Well, back to what I was saying about Fright Night. I saw it again on the night of my birthday. Actually, like my friend and I, like one of my friends left, but the other one that was saying like me and him went to see Fright Night in theaters, and like I finally saw it the second time. I guess I was like in a more coherent mood or something at the time because it was so late the first time I saw it. And Tom, everything that you said was like great. Like Colin Farrell's dark humor side that he had to him was like probably some of the best stuff in the film.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely improved the film. Like he made that movie.
Yeah, and here's a funny fact too. Like the actress that plays his girlfriend actually in the film. Like I swear, there's an employee at my movie theater that looks exactly like her. Not kidding.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wanted to see this movie. It's like out of my local multiplex. It's not doing well at the box office, but yeah, I kind of went in. I guess I didn't go in because I hadn't seen it, but Tom, I still have, based on that trailer, the same mindset of just I thought it was going to be an overly serious movie, but then I hear it's super campy apparently, and that makes me way more interested to see it now. But I ended up getting stuck to see one day with a group of friends that day, so that kind of sucked. But
Oh yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that movie was bad. Okay.
Bring that up about Fright Night, though. I almost think it's kind of like the Scott Pilgrim of this year, in which it deserves to be making a lot more money than it should.
It really does. I mean, this movie's not doing good at all, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Because some of these categories that we might have coming up might be one of those movies that did make more. Actually, for one of them in particular, which is next, and that is Worst Movie. And
I
I'll have...
love this category.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll kick this off because it's a no-brainer I used this in a category earlier for 3 of its stars, and I don't think I need to continue on anything really, so I'll just say it. Spy Kids, All the Time in the World, I'm finished.
Sweet.
Uh,
Is that it?
Yeah, I think
Really?
if you just watch my review, you'll understand it. I don't really need to explain myself at all. Except I did get the trolls for that.
Which is a pretty awesome review, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's one of my favorite ones you've done recently. I thought that was hilarious.
All right, so you want to go next then?
Yeah. Okay. So worst movie this summer. I'm just gonna come out first and just say, I do try to see a wide range of films. I try to go at least once a week, but there's a point where I draw the line. So, I'm not going to see Spy Kids. I'm not seeing Conan the Barbarian. I didn't see Smurfs. So, there's a point where I'm just like, I'm not going to see that movie. It looks awful. So, in that mindset, my worst movie this summer out of everything I've seen, I think by far is Green Lantern. I hated this movie.
Yeah.
I think I was a little too generous when I reviewed it. I think it should be dropped down to a 1.5 out of 5. Yeah, this movie... the superhero movies today, I mean, there's so many of them that really, the superhero genre, when a superhero movie comes out, there's got to be something new to your movie, and this movie tried to combine things with Thor and Iron Man. I think Thor with, the alternate universe aspect, and then Iron Man with kind of your central, goofy main character, main hero. But I thought it tried both of those elements and just was way more generic and like a way worse version of both of them. You mentioned the writing before, how there were 5 writers on this movie, and it shows. I mean, this movie's tone is so inconsistent. There are plot holes galore in this movie. There's no character development with anyone. I mean, you don't care about anyone in this movie. It's got some of the weakest performances of the year, I think, namely Peter Sarsgaard and Blake Lively.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds, he's trying his best, but I think for me, he just kind of falls short. And the most disappointing part of this movie is that there were some good ideas to be had, the power to create anything. That's a really interesting concept, and this movie just does not utilize that. It really does not, explore it at all. So there's my little rant on Green Lantern. Worst movie for me in the summer.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah, it's definitely a disappointing movie. I mean, it could have been a lot more.
For sure.
Yes. All right. Well, worst movie. All right. Like you said earlier, Jordan, I try to see a wide range of movies as well, but I didn't see Spy Kids 4, didn't see the Smurfs, I didn't see Conan, and I don't plan on seeing them.
Boy, am I a minority.
But this one movie pissed me off so much, and it was just an unenjoyable experience from start to finish. That is Transformers Dark of the Moon. Now, before going to this movie, I heard a lot of reviews. People were saying, oh, this is like a return to form of the first one. It's just a mindless action movie. You'll have a ton of fun with it. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's just go in and have some fun. Shut off my brain. Even at that, the movie just wasn't good at all. I didn't even enjoy myself the least bit. The first half of this movie was completely pointless and stupid. You just get a bunch of annoying, underdeveloped characters mixed with a lot of uninteresting plot lines and really a lot of cameos that are just really pointless as well. I just thought the first half of this movie was just trash. It was garbage, really just not good stuff. And then the second half, as we all know, is where a lot of the action comes into play. But even at this point, I didn't care about the action because I didn't care about the characters or the storylines, so really, the action didn't impress me too much, despite the fact that the animation was really good, and, so you can say the action was better than the second movie. But still, I didn't care about any of that stuff. This movie is just very unenjoyable, and I never want to see it again, or think about it. It's just not good.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I feel like I was a little too generous in my rating sometimes because, in fact, I bring this up because, like I told you guys, I saw Red State today, and, there was one part in Transformers 3 that was almost exactly like that, because in Red State, there are people that die in that film so randomly that it doesn't make sense at times. And that was like when Ironhide got killed in it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Why? Like, he's like the only one that really kicks ass on that side besides Bumblebee and Optimus, and you put him off instead. That made no sense at all.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. I didn't hate it as much as you, because I do think some of the action is really cool, namely the building collapsing scene where, all the, 7 people up in that office building that's kind of sliding and falling. But, yeah, I thought the first hour and a half of this movie was as bad as a lot of the stuff in Transformers 2. It had the awful signature Michael Bay comedy. It had nonsensical plot lines that really I could care less about. It kept introducing unnecessary characters, and a lot of people are just saying, no, if you get past that, the action's great. But I think then it sort of fails. It's like, well, you made us wait this long to get to this. This movie could have been 90 minutes. They shortened the plot to 15 minutes of exposition that's easy to follow, and then let's have action. And it really just did not do that. No reason for this movie to be 2.5 hours long. I was pretty angry through a lot of this movie.
Yeah, I remember your intro. So like you said, you said people told you to see it in 3D, and you said you're not listening to people anymore.
Yeah,
that cracked me up.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't like the kind of 3D for me. I don't know. The only stuff that I really notice in 3D, I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I only notice the gimmicky, Jackass 3D, Drive Angry 3D, where it like pops out at you. I don't know. I didn't really notice like when it like surrounds you. I mean, I guess it's fine, but for that, I could just easily watch it, on a normal 2D, in a normal 2D version. And I don't know. I thought the only scene in Transformers that for me I was like, this is 3D, is the scene where Shia LaBeouf is swinging. I think it's from Bumblebee, and you see like his shoe kick out like at the screen. I was like, I paid extra money for that? No.
Yeah, and one thing that you brought up that I forgot was the length of the movie. It is way too long. There's so much stuff that could have been cut out of this movie. And even if this movie was cut down, I probably wouldn't have hated it that much, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the problem with Transformers, 2. Like, a lot of these big movies, I'm going to bring an example up. I'm sure you guys have seen Roland Emmerich's 2012.
Oh, that was
nearly
way too
3
long.
hours long. Does not need to be that long. And, yeah.
Alright, so at least let's end this on a positive note after all that ranting, and we're going to move on to our final category, Best Movie of the Summer. And my choice, after some debating, I rearranged my list several times around for which was the best, and I wish I could have used 2 movies in particular, but technically they were early screenings, but my favorite movie of the summer was Super 8.
Nice.
Now, I was thinking of using Midnight in Paris, but the fact that not many people had seen that movie would probably have heard of it. But in fact,
I thought we were going to be able to use independent movies. Now my choice just makes no sense.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it anyway, but I'm just going by strictly summer movies, kind of keep the vibe in it going.
That's what I was thinking of initially.
While I did enjoy Midnight in Paris more than Super 8, Super 8 was still, that is as true a summer movie as I've ever seen one. At the same time, along with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which was a close runner-up, it was very mature. It nailed down all the teenage themes so well, but it just captured a lot of nostalgia within all this with what it was going for.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. Yeah, if I were to pick a quote-unquote summer blockbuster movie, that would definitely be it, Super 8 for me. Yeah, I thought the way that movie was, as far as a summer blockbuster, it really succeeded on characters you care about, a really cool story. I thought, the making a home movie backdrop was really cool, but also you get some really cool action and some really cool, mysterious scenes that I thought were really well directed. But I guess the best movie for me that I technically saw all summer was The Tree of Life, and I know a lot of people disagree. I know it's actually maybe a little better. Kevin's not on today because he would probably have screamed at me because I know he hates this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Oh great, the mail came. The dog's barking. Tree of Life. For me, when I saw it, it really just took me on an experience that I've never experienced anything like it before. I really just was invested through its 2-hour and 20-minute runtime, and I know we were just talking about Transformers, but this movie earns that runtime. I thought the cinematography was terrific, some of the best I think I've seen ever on the big screen. And I think too, one thing to praise this movie for, even if you didn't like it, is it really gets people talking, and the different opinions on it I think have made for some cool conversations. So yeah, I love Tree of Life. It's my number one for the year. It's my number one for the summer.
All right, nice. And I'm gonna have to agree with Tyler. I chose Super 8, and being Steven Spielberg is one of my favorite directors, and this movie just owes a lot to him. You can definitely tell it's an homage to a lot of his older films. Yeah, like E.T. and The Goonies, which he produced. To begin with, I think the acting all around is great in this movie. Joel Courtney, Ella Fanning, is that her name? Ella Fanning?
Yeah, Ella Fanning.
Yep, she does a great job too. A lot of unknowns in this movie, which I really liked. All the kids had just great chemistry with each other, and I love the dialogue they were given. They were all around really funny. You felt for them. I love the retro vibe in this movie, capturing the late 70s feel. I thought the movie had great visuals. I loved how the movie was centered around filmmaking. That was really nice.
Yes.
Yep. And the movie had a great sense of adventure. Like, for the whole movie, you just want these kids to succeed, and it was great. And all around, this is what I think of this movie as perfect summer entertainment, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, Elle Fanning was great in this movie.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I know Tyler said initially we had any honorable mentions, but I know you had some, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I did have a few. Like, for funniest comedy, Bridesmaids was a close runner-up. For
Same.
biggest wasted actor talent, Harrison Ford was actually my runner-up for that.
Okay.
Best comic book movie was runner-up was Captain America, because if they made Red Skull more menacing, I thought I would have enjoyed it more than X-Men First Class then. But there just wasn't enough in that for the Did That Really Need to Get Made award. That the runner-up for that is definitely Spy Kids 4 will be right along that, but the fact that Conan was a remake probably put it in its spot right there. Biggest disappointment I'd mention was Cowboys and Aliens in 30 Minutes or Less. Biggest surprise, I don't really have another one besides Rise of the Planet of the Apes for that. But I think I'd actually put Midnight in Paris for that spot, actually, because I was expecting nothing out of that. Then for worst movie, the runner-ups are Conan the Barbarian and Zookeeper is actually the next runner-up. And then best movie, the close runners-up are... technically, Midnight in Paris was my favorite, but since I was going like a summer vibe, I said Super 8. But for close runners-up, I said Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I think I might as well just say X-Men First Class was, too.
Let me just look through here. I had something I was going to say. Come back to me, sorry.
All right, Tom?
I had something I was going to say, and then I just slipped my mind.
Okay, well, for runners-up for best movie, I'd probably have to say, Rise of the Apes and X-Men First Class, both really great movies that I loved. And for worst movie, it'd be kind of hard to decide, honestly, because, like I said, I haven't seen, like, The Smurfs or Spy Kids 40 or Conan. But I'd probably say runner-up would be the Green Lantern. And biggest surprise runner-up, probably Rise of the Apes, because... I mean, I sort of knew that movie was going to be good, but still, like, I had the mindset that it wasn't going to be, like, anything great, and I thought it was really great, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, actually, I remember what I was going to say now. For biggest disappointment, I would say runner-up, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Oh, I should have put that, too.
Yeah, that was disappointing. Yeah, and for biggest surprise, I would put Crazy Stupid Love as an honorable mention.
Yeah, I should have put that, too.
Those are good.
Alright, so I think we've run through it all, so is there anything else you guys want to say?
Thank you, Tyler, for having us on.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, overall, like, what do you think of this summer, like as a whole?
Alright, I know some people were saying that this summer was one of the best summers in movies for years. I would strongly oppose that at the same time. While there were some great stuff, like... It was kind of like last year where a lot of the stuff had a huge gap in between which, like, the next big surprise or great film there was. So I wouldn't say it was the greatest because I don't even remember when the last great summer movie season was. I think it was, like, 2008 or 2007 was, like, a phenomenal one.
Yeah, but 2008 was when Dark Knight came out, right?
Yeah, and, like, Tropic Thunder
that's probably for me
and
the
all
last,
that
like,
stuff, too.
Great summer.
Yeah, like, we haven't had a great summer movie season in 3 years, so I kind of, like, put this one still in the middle a little bit.
Yeah, same here, despite getting some really good movies.
Yeah,
I agree. I thought I would say it's 10 times better than last summer.
Oh, yeah.
But I agree. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was, anything incredible. But I think next summer will be pretty great.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The lineup is pretty amazing.
Dark Knight Rises. There's some good stuff coming.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Battleship.
Yeah.
Battleship.
Oh, God. That literally looks like Michael Bay stamped his name on it one way or the other.
And I love what Kevin pointed out to me when we first, another shout out to Kevin. When I first saw the trailer and he saw it too, he told me, he's like, they shoot pegs into the ships. Like, the aliens are shooting battleship pegs.
Oh, yeah.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I saw that too. So I think we've summed up pretty well. Thank you guys for listening, and I'm going to be recording one more edition of the Cali Critic Cast next week, potentially, which Catman11 will be a guest on this one. Potentially you guys as well, if you have the time to. So we'll see you later. Subscribe to our channels if you haven't already, too.
Thank you.
See ya.